Hey there, we're Shannon and Jerry Arner, your hosts of the Arner Adventures podcast.
We're a minimalist couple driven by intentional living and adventure.
Burned out from the 24/7 grind of running our business, we traded the hustle and the bustle for something more meaningful.
We parted ways with most of our belongings and moved to the coast.
Listen along as we chat about life's challenges, share inspiring stories of those who have taken big leaps to live a life outside of the norm,
and help you live with more intention and less physical and mental clutter.
Each episode is a step toward doing and being just a little bit better for ourselves and the world around us.
Life's an adventure after all. Join us for the ride.
It's the Arner Adventures podcast.
Hello, everyone. I'm Shannon.
And I'm Jerry.
Jerry's back, y'all.
Yeah, I am back.
We are back for episode 192 of the Arner Adventures podcast.
And ready to roll.
Yep. So this topic is probably timely if you are a Netflix watcher, because right now on Netflix, some of the top things to watch are, of course, the poop cruise and the story about Amy Bradley being missing. And so being a couple who has been on quite a number of cruises, and we really enjoy cruises, which is kind of funny because I never would have thought of us being cruisers. But Virgin Voyages really changed that.
Yeah, it did. I think they've been a game changer for the whole cruise industry.
They have.
In general.
They have. So what we thought was, since we're getting a lot of questions about people going, oh my God, is this stuff true? Did it happen? Does it happen? We were like, you know what? Let's just talk about cruise culture and the truth behind cruise culture and, kind of take some of the scary tactics away from it, talk about the truths, talk about some of the things that you should be aware of. And then, like most travel, just being smart about things.
Yeah, that's right. Cruises have always had a reputation that swings from dreamy to disastrous.
Hello, Titanic.
Yeah. For some, it's the ultimate vacation with unlimited food and sparkling blue water. And it's really a floating city that takes you from one tropical port to the next.
Yeah, or other kinds of ports, but it's kind of known for being tropical ports. Mm-hmm. But for other people, cruises are associated with those headlines, the infamous poop cruise, which recently, like I said, appeared on Netflix, or that haunting story about the disappearance of Amy Bradley, which is also on Netflix. Mm-hmm. Both are stories that actually happened, that just like news and what we're all so privy to are the extreme narratives, right? I mean, it doesn't mean every time you get on a cruise, it turns into a poop cruise.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's it can be hard to know what to believe.
Definitely.
The truth with cruise culture lies is somewhere in between.
That's true. Like most things, right?
Yep, like most things.
Okay, so listen, Jerry and I love a good cruise, but you know what we really love? A cruise with no kids on board.
That's right. We're talking about Virgin Voyages, where the only thing screaming is, espresso martinis at 2 a.m.
It's just a totally different vibe. Virgin Voyages doesn't cruise, they voyage. Think elevated experiences, stunning ships, incredible food, no water slides filled with goldfish crackers.
And the sea terrace? Don't even get us started. Hammocks on the balcony? Mood lighting? We're not saying we moved in, but...
We almost did. And guess what? We've got the hookup. Head to arneradventures.com/virgin-voyages to grab our access key so you can save on your next voyage and get some sailor loot. That's onboard credit to spend on drinks, spa, tattoos, or whatever floats your yacht.
And while you're there, grab our free Virgin Voyages bar guide. Yes, free. It'll tell you exactly which bars are worth visiting, what to order, and where to find them on the ship. You'll be an expert before you even embark.
You want to sail like a pro? We've got you. Again, that's arneradventures.com/virgin-voyages. Go now. Thank us later.
Just don't blame us when you come back wondering why every other cruise doesn't feel like Virgin Voyages.
So let's talk about what shapes cruise culture. Cruise culture covers a broad spectrum. So if you've never cruised, just so you know, you might run into folks who are happily lined up for some of the indoor games and, piling their plates high at the buffet, while other people sip cocktails, head to yoga on the top deck like us, take a more, slow, easy approach. The appeal really lies in the variety, and that's where some of the myths originate. So pop culture loves to highlight the extreme, whether it's the plumbing disaster or the mystery at sea. But while these stories are memorable, like the Titanic or like someone going overboard, the average cruise is so much less dramatic than what you see on Netflix. It can be as boring as you want it to be. Please know that. It's not like most cruises have these things going on, which we're going to dig into more.
Yeah, that really, I like that. That really kind of flips the script. You can be as boring as you want to be on the
Yeah.
cruise. Yeah. So let's go over the things of what you should actually worry about. Safety is one of the biggest concerns people have when booking a cruise, and of course, we mentioned again the story like Amy Bradley's disappearance fuels those fears. While they're rare, they are heartbreaking reminders to be smart and aware while traveling. Here are a few practical tips that really matter.
Yeah. So the first thing is when you get into your cabin, there is a safe. Use your safe for your passport, your wallet, any valuables. Hopefully, you don't bring a ton of valuables on your trip, but you do have your passport, and that is super important when you're traveling anywhere. So when you're not using it, you're not taking it off the ship, put it in your safe.
Yeah, and of course, another one, all important one, pay attention to your alcohol intake, especially in unfamiliar settings.
Yeah.
That's something that can sneak up on you, as they say.
Yeah, and while we're on that one, you should do that in any public setting. Especially always be in control of your alcohol. If someone's bringing you drinks, you really should be a little more aware of that. And unfortunately, that I don't want to sound scary, but especially if it's someone you don't know bringing you drinks, that's not a good idea.
Right.
They could put
Mhm.
something in it. It just don't do that. Oh, can I buy you a drink? Yeah, and then walk over there with them to get it from the bartender
Mhm.
if that's how you want to roll. Also, be mindful when chatting with strangers on board and in the port. Now, this isn't so much about, oh my God, is somebody going to take you? But it's more about like when you go to tourist destinations on or off a cruise, people are trying to get you to buy things from them. They're trying to get you to come into their store. They know for the most part that you are a tourist. So lay low, as I like to just almost ignore anyone who's talking to me who I don't know. I'd rather them think that I'm a bitch than think that I'm gullible and then can be taken advantage of. So just be really mindful when you're chatting with anybody on board and in the port that you don't know.
Yeah, and if you're exploring a port on your own, research ahead of time to know what areas to avoid. That's pretty easily done nowadays through the magic of the internet
And social
and
media.
social media. Yeah, you can find out where you're going, and in a lot of ports, there might be seedier parts of an area you don't you don't want to get
Yeah, and
into.
we've
Yeah.
learned that kind of the hard
Oh yeah,
way at
yeah.
times.
At times, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So stick with the excursions that you have vetted or that the ship has vetted through the cruise line if you're nervous. Now, I added, that caveat if you're nervous because Jerry and I love walking off and exploring away from the ship. And a lot of times, our goal with the cruise is kind of like an app sampler to sort of dabble in the different places and then figure out next time I return where do I want the whole meal.
Hmm.
So what we do is we want to experience things in countries or islands or wherever that are off the beaten path. With that being said, we try to be very smart about it, like do some research. But like Jerry and I went somewhere before and just walked, and I think for our brief moments we're a little bit nervous, but then we ended up finding this rum distillery that we wouldn't have known about, and it was all on foot, and it was a wonderful
Oh
experience.
yeah, it was.
Actually, that's happened twice, rum distilleries.
Yeah, yeah, that was a really nice place too.
Yeah.
Yeah, just when you think you've wandered off the beaten path, you're like in a really nice and welcoming environment with good people.
But you can stick with the excursions that the ship has vetted, and that's always a great idea,
Hmm.
safety in numbers, all of that.
All of that stuff. Also, it's good to learn the layout of the ship early on. Now, in case there's an emergency or something, you need to know where to go. We usually on the first day kind of get to know the lay of the land on the ship. You're not getting on land for a couple days, but uh, so what I mean by that is getting to know the ship, of course. And it's pretty easy on Most of these ships, I think, especially Virgin, because there's a lot of ways to guide yourself around. Maybe a phone app or just general instructions that are posted around the ship, so you know where to
Definitely.
go.
Yeah. Like Jerry was saying early on, a cruise is essentially a floating town, and you should treat it with that same level of awareness. So most of the things we're talking about are no different than if you're visiting any new city that, you're at for the first time.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's talk about international waters and what happens when you get there, because we need to keep this real, that when you're in international waters, you're not automatically protected by your home country's laws. Or really, if you think, well, I'm really close to the Bahamas, so we're probably protected by Bahamian law. You're not. So cruise ships typically operate under the laws of the country to which they are flagged. And this can make legal protections and investigations challenging if something goes wrong.
Yes, definitely. And this doesn't mean that cruising is inherently unsafe, but it means you should be thoughtful about who you're sailing with and the people that are surrounding you, because you never know.
Yeah,
One bad apple spoils the whole bunch, girl.
that's true.
Yeah.
And, research the brand really thoroughly, examine the safety records, read passenger reviews. I learned this recently, and Jerry, I don't know if you knew this, like when I talked about the flag.
Yeah.
There are cruise lines, when you start looking at the cruise ship and what flag it has, they all have different flags.
Yeah.
And I always thought, well, it must be the flag where the cruise ship was made.
Uh-huh.
And it's not. It's really the cruise business, like the corporation. I'm going to use Carnival because it was in the Poop Cruise, and most people associate Carnival with the Poop Cruise right now.
Right.
Actually, I think it could have been the Amy Bradley one too, but let's not say that. We don't want to get sued.
Yeah.
So Poop Cruise was Carnival, right? So Carnival, the corporation of Carnival can decide what flag they want for that ship on their own. They can say, you know what? We're going to register this cruise ship. I'm completely making this up, okay? Because I don't know where it was registered, but we're going to register this with Cuba. I almost can bet you it was not Cuba.
Yeah.
But let's just say the Cuban flag. And I've learned that they will choose dependent on the least restrictions of law.
Oh.
Because, hey, if it's less paperwork, if it's less things to worry about, why not just take my cruise ship and register it with quote unquote Cuba?
Yeah.
It was not Cuba. I'm just trying to make a point here. So that's the scary part to me, is that cruise ships have a choice, and these corporations have a choice of what countries' laws they're going to align their ship with. That's the part that's a little sketchy, right?
Yeah.
So just always look into it. I don't want to use scare tactics here. I'm just really trying to break it down, because the part about the international waters is what I've been digging into more lately after watching those documentaries.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of good information for people there. That's interesting, to say the least. Well, let's get into some myths that refuse to die. Of course, there's all kind of stereotypes when it comes to cruises. You've probably heard a few, as we have, and we're going to get to the bottom of each and every one of them. The first one, the food is terrible. Well, we know that's not true from Virgin. Some cruise lines go heavy on buffets, but with Virgin, for instance, who we're most oriented with, they have elevated dining with sit-down restaurants. There's options for all you vegans out there and vegetarians, and menus curated by award-winning chefs. We've experienced a little bit of that.
Yeah. The next one is, well, you'll get seasick, or I'll get seasick. Motion can definitely be an issue, but most modern ships are built with stabilizers that minimize it. So for those sensitive to movement, like me, there are tons of remedies like patches or ginger lozenges that can make a significant difference. So I remember I am very prone to getting motion sickness. So I remember in the early days, having to rely on Dramamine, which would keep me tired the whole time. Well, now, of course, Dramamine has one that's not, what is it? It's like, what is it when it's not drowsy free or whatever?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
those lozenges,
Uh-huh.
the ginger lozenges that they make are really good too. But
Yes.
I just don't get it as bad as I used to. And I just think it's how they build ships better. And they're just more mindful of it. And look, the cruise industry doesn't want you to have motion sickness the whole time because you're not going to do anything and you're going to hate it and you're not going to come back. So they try to do what they can to make sure that it's as stable and comfortable as possible.
Yeah, that's right. And I think they typically feel pretty stable to me. Let's re-explore this one. You'll be bored. In some cases, you might prefer that, but
Yeah.
typically people don't want to be bored. So there's a lot of activities, a wide range of activities on modern cruise ships. Live entertainment, which they're known for. A lot of kind of classes, cooking classes and whatnot. And of course, the ever popular spa services that people love to dip into when they go on a cruise.
Those spa services.
Spa. Spa.
Spa.
Spa. The W is silent.
Yeah.
So, the real problem is here's deciding what to skip because there are a lot of options.
There are a ton of options.
Yeah.
And like Jerry said, sometimes you might want to be on the down low and bored, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I think sometimes that's the nicest things is having no plans.
Yeah. But there's a lot to pick and choose from.
So the last one, a myth that won't die, obviously in this day and age, cruises aren't safe. So like any form of travel, risks exist. Do you know how many people tell me on the regular, and they know how often we go to New York, that how do you go to New York? It's not safe. I mean, that it's those things that the news captures the worst, right? The worst. A lot of people think, how do you live on the coast? There's hurricanes all the time. No, there's not. There's not hurricanes all the time.
Yeah.
You just hear about the worst ones through the years.
Yeah.
So the statistics exist so that you can know the facts about the level of risk. So like planes, cruise ships have excellent safety records. In fact, they're safer than the road you drove on today. You're much safer on a cruise ship than you are in your car. Same thing with planes. So you really have to remember that the scare tactics, the dramatic flair, all of that stuff that you see online and on TV and all of that, that's what keeps you captured. That's what keeps people watching. So that's what they put out there.
That's right. Yeah, that sensationalism that
Yeah.
sells the news, of course. Here's why we still cruise. Why do we choose to cruise when headlines can be scary? Well, let's dig in. Because the joy outweighs the noise. We love waking up in a new country without ever having to pack or unpack our belongings. We view it as an app sampler. You can try out a few different things or places and decide where you want to spend your time much later.
Yeah, we love that there is something for every mood, whether it's relaxing by the pool or catching a late night show. And we also love that it fits our minimalist lifestyle. Like one suitcase, one cabin, all these experiences. You know, it's not about the stuff, it's about experiencing so many things.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and if you know us, you know we adore Virgin Cruises, and we have a long time association with them. Virgin has quickly become our go-to because it flips the script on what most people expect from cruising. They're child-free. Let's just say that's number one with us. That changes the atmosphere in a really refreshing way. It is the best cruise line for adults.
Yeah, and actually, as we are recording this, it just won, third or fourth year in a row, I can't remember, of the best cruise line.
Yeah.
By Travel and Leisure. So instead of the typical family-focused vibe, it feels more like an upscale floating resort designed for adults who want both relaxation and fun. So with restaurants that replace buffets, quirky entertainment that pushes boundaries, and a fresh take on wellness at sea. We talked about that, how we made one of our voyages with Virgin a whole wellness week. And it's really great. You can make what you want out of it. But Virgin offers an out-of-the-box version of cruising that actually fits the way that we like to travel.
Yeah, that's right. So the truth about it with cruise culture is that it is layered. It is multifaceted. There's something for everyone to stay busy and stay safe. Of course, there are risks, and yes, disasters have happened, and it makes for good TV. But in general, disasters happen everywhere, and for the most part, you just got to know what you're doing. So there's also magic in the experience, and with a bit of preparation, it can be one of the most stress-free ways to see the world.
Yeah. And before we wrap this up, I do want to add just a few things. Some of the biggest questions that we get that we didn't cover really quickly is how is cruising for solo travelers? So just like travel anywhere, solo travelers take more precautions, right, than you would in any city, like avoiding isolated areas, being cautious with alcohol, all of those things. I will tell you, in relation to Virgin, they do a really good job of sort of having a whole mindset of catering to solo travelers, whether you're working on there, whether you want to meet other solo travelers, whether you don't. But Jerry and I have met quite a few solo travelers who have been very happy with their experience.
Oh, yeah.
And then another thing is just like what happens if you do get sick on a cruise, or what happens if you need an emergency. So every ship has a medical center with trained staff, and it is limited compared to a hospital. And for serious issues, there may be an evacuation issue like near the nearest port. Jerry and I were on a cruise recently where someone was having, I think, heart issues, and a helicopter actually came to get them from the ship.
Yep.
So it's not like you're not going to get medical care. You can get it. It's not going to be as easy as driving to your nearest urgent care hospital, but it is accommodating if you get sick on there. And travel insurance covers medical emergencies, things like that. So you can look into that. We have a blog post on that. Link is in the show notes. But we hope that this has been super helpful for you. We hope that we have eliminated some of the scary fear factor about cruising and, shone a light on the truth about cruise culture.
If this episode resonated with you, or if you know of someone who would benefit from what we talked about, please share it with a friend.
It's a great way of supporting the podcast, and we really appreciate it.
Another way of supporting the pod is by leaving us a 5-star review or rating on the platform you are listening to us on.
And go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That also supports us. You can always find us, the show notes, and sponsors who support the podcast at arneradventures.com.
And until next time, enjoy the journey you're on. We're wishing you lots of adventures.
Bye-bye.